Erik Gustavovich Laxmann was a Finnish-Swedish clergyman, explorer and natural scientist born in Nyslott in Finland, then part of Sweden. He is remembered today for his taxonomic work on the fauna of Siberia and for his attempts to establish relations between Imperial Russia and Tokugawa Japan. In 1757, Laxmann started his studies at the Academy of Åbo and was subsequently ordained a Lutheran priest in St. Petersburg, the capital of Russia. In 1764, he was appointed as a preacher in a small parish in Bernaril in central Siberia, whence he undertook a number of exploratory journeys, reaching Irkutsk, Baikal, Kyakhta and the border to China. His collection of material on the fauna of Siberia made him famous in scientific circles, and in 1770, he was appointed professor of chemistry and economy at the Russian Academy of Sciences. In 1769, Laxmann was elected a foreign member of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences, Irkutsk. In 1780, Laxmann settled in Irkutsk, where he would spend much of the rest of his life. In 1782, Laxmann founded a museum in Irkutsk, which is the oldest in Siberia. Laxmann also ran a glass factory in a suburb of Irkutsk, around 6 versts away from the center of the city, with a famous merchant Alexander Andreevich Baranov as a business partner. The factory was roughly 36 meters square. Products were not only sold domestically, but also to northeastern China. Although he had many connections to local people of importance, Laxmann developed an antagonistic relationship with Grigory Shelikov, a seafarer and merchant. Laxmann noticed that Shelikov, along with the Irkutsk Governor-General's office, had tried to pressure Daikoku Yukodao, a Japanese castaway, into staying in Russia and serving as a translator for the merchant. The fact that Shelikov also had strong connections with some Russian bureaucrats made the situation more complex. After Laxmann went to St. Petersburg on Kodalyu's behalf, he began to send letters directly to her Chancellor Alexander Bezborodko, Japan. Karl Peter Thunberg. Laxmann already had some knowledge about Japan before he met Japanese castaways, reading books written by Karl Peter Thunberg, with whom Laxmann had some communication. Daikoku Yukodao. In 1789, while doing research in Irkutsk, Laxmann came across 6 Japanese who had been found in Amchitka, one of the Aleutian Islands, by Russian furriers whose leader was a person called Nivizamov. Laxmann escorted the castaways to St. Petersburg, where Daikoku Yukodao, the nominal leader, pleaded with Empress Catherine the Great to be allowed to return to Japan. During this stay in the capital, Laxmann began discussions on various matters with Alexander Bezborodko, but succumbed to a bout of typhoid fever which left him incapacitated for 3 months. Laxmann recovered consciousness in early May when Catherine had just moved to Tsarskoye Selo for the summer. Laxmann sent Kodaly to Tsarskoye Selo ahead of him, and Kodaly was able to meet with the Empress several times over 6 months. As a result of Laxmann's dedicated efforts among the Russian bureaucracy, especially with Alexander Bezborodko and Chancellor Alexander Vorontsov, at each presentation at Tsarskoye Selo, Laxmann walked along with Kodaly in order to assist him in the proper etiquette required in the Empress' presence. In 1791, Catherine agreed to a plan conceived by Laxmann, under which Laxmann's son, Lt. Adim Laxmann, would command a voyage to Japan, where he would exchange the castaways for economic agreements and concessions. Grigory Shelikov had proposed another plan that would make the Japanese castaways Russian citizens so that they would be Japanese teachers and translators, but Catherine chose Laxmann and Bezborodko's plan. The elder Laxman remained in Russia while his son traveled with the castaways. Letters to Japanese scholars. Laxman wrote letters to two Japanese scholars, Nakagawa Junan and Katsuragawa Hoshu, at the recommendation of Karl Peter Thunberg, their teacher. There is no record that the letters ever reached the scholars, even though Adam Laxman handed the letters to Ishikawa Tadafusa, a staff member of Tokugawa shogunate in Matsuma, Hokkaido. Erik Laxmann had showed Kodayu the letters before Kodayu left Okhotsk. Katsuragawa Hoshu had lots of communication with Kodayu after Kodayu lived in Yedo, so Hoshu edited some books on Russia and Kodayu's experience. It would be possible to think that Hoshu may have known that Laxmann had sent him a letter. His family. Laxman had a wife, Yekaterina Ivanovna, 5 sons, Gustav, Adam, one who died young, Afanaki and Martin, and a daughter Maria. He also lived with his younger brother, his wife and their 2 daughters, Anna and Elizabetha. Laxman also had another younger brother, who lived in St. Petersburg.